The content shared reflects the views of the host and guests of the program only and are not necessarily the views of Cordasco Financial Network or its advisors. This media production is educational in nature and should not be construed as financial, legal, or tax advice or a solicitation or presentation of sale of any financial products or services. Please consult a professional prior to making any financial, tax, or legal decision.
Hi, it's Steve Cordasco, host of the weekly Your Life, Your Wealth radio show and podcast. I'm joined by Mike Carter. He is founder, president, and CEO of BizEquity. In part 2 of a 3-part series, we talk about the role TV's Shark Tank plays in getting kids interested in becoming entrepreneurs and how advancements in technology enabled Mike and his team to create BizEquity. As we look at business owners and wondering what businesses are worth, I can't help but go back to Shark Tank. It's something we watch in our house all the time. Everything from my 10-year-old watches it, and she'll vote on whether something's a cool idea or not. And you get all these different hopeful people, business owners who have incubated something, coming out, talking to the 3 sharks about why their business is worth what they think it's worth. And then you have the sharks who think they know it all, and they know a lot more than most of us, but in their mind, they're doing their own calculations of what the business is worth, because some of those businesses do have sales. But not everybody can go to the 3 sharks that is listening to this show right now and say, what is my business worth, and are you willing to give me some money for the business? So talk about the difference between Shark Tank and BizEquity.
I think the reason that CNBC, I think the fastest growing demographic on a financial news network, right, is with entrepreneurs. And especially, and I know you have young children or teenage children. I know a few of them pretty well. Everyone today, if you ask someone in the 7th grade or 8th grade what they want to do when they grow up, when we grew up, Steve, and not that we're that old because we're not, it was typical, athlete, doctor, lawyer, nurse, teacher, police officer, whatever it may be. Now they say close to half of all students, and these were somewhat urban areas, right, or city areas, half of all the students said they wanted to be an entrepreneur. And it's amazing. So I think this whole idea of, the Shark Tank generation or Shark Tank has really made this idea of having your own business very achievable, as has, all the technology today where storage and look what Amazon's doing with AWS, Amazon Web Services, make it really easy to start a company. And the digitalization of everything and the ability to click an app. People think you can just click a job or click a company and create a company. To your point, the first question that the sharks usually answer is, well, what's your deal? What do you think this is worth? And I was blessed that, before Shark Tank existed, a guy that you know very well too, Steve, Pete Musser, who is the founding investor of Comcast, QVC, Novell, and invested in over 1,000 companies over 60 years. That was always the last question he would ask an entrepreneur. So whether it was high tech, low tech, no tech, I think I said before, late stage, early stage, no stage, Pete would say at the very end, after being immensely charming as he is, right, he would say, well, what do you think your business is worth? And I watched people over 10 years stutter at that question. And so, I think it's kind of perfect timing where there's this drive to entrepreneurialism right across the world. I think in India, there are literally 50 million entrepreneurs. In the U.S., there's certainly more than 20 million, 25 million entrepreneurs, and that's growing. So it's the timing of kind of this whole democratization of entrepreneurship around the world, and then it's also like, okay, well, one of the most visceral questions and the most tangible questions that should be answered is, well, what's this entity that you've started? What's it worth? And unfortunately, a lot of people that have started companies over the past 50 years or 100 years, it ends up being a job. It doesn't end up being a business. And what we're doing here at BizEquity is saying, it's actually a business with tangible value, but you just didn't know it before because people never kind of, spoke the gospel of kind of the valuation of the business to help you understand it today, to know what you can do to build upon it. It's not a job, it's your business. And that's what we're here to help everyone understand.
I'm talking to Mike Carter. He's founder of BizEquity. Next time, in part 3 of our conversation, we'll discuss ways BizEquity has become a game changer in the business valuation space. And we'll talk about the high cost of traditional business valuations. Thanks for listening. I'm Steve Cordasco.